The galaxy had been at war for 400 years before anyone thought to ask Earth for help. Not because humanity was weak, not because they were hidden, but because, for 4 centuries, the great powers of the coalition simply hadn't cared what the quiet blue world at the edge of the Orion Arm thought about anything. The war was called the Ashfall Campaign, a grinding, endless conflict between the Vorthane Empire and the coalition of free worlds, fought over trade lanes, resource belts, and the slow, patient erasure of entire species who happened to live in the wrong system at the wrong time. Fleets numbering in the thousands clashed in silence above dying planets. Billions had died. Billions more were about to, and Earth wanted no part of it. When the coalition finally sent an envoy to the Sol system, a slate-gray diplomat ship named the Verity's Hand, its captain, a Thesserine named Ambassador Kelvex Oro, expected a formality, a signature, a small, primitive species grateful for the chance to matter. "You understand," Kelvex said, standing in the marble halls of the newly built United Earth Assembly, "that the Empire will come for you eventually. Every species does. It is only a matter of when. Join us now and you join as allies. Refuse and you will beg for our help later, if there is a later left to beg in." The human delegate, a woman named Director Amara Voss, silver-haired, calm as still water, folded her hands on the table. "We've read your reports," she said. "For 100 years of war, 40 billion dead by your own count, and neither side can say what they're actually fighting for anymore. Just that the other side started it, and honor demands they finish it." Kelvex's translator crackled with something that might have been offense. "Honor is not primitive sentiment, Director. It is the foundation of civilization. So is knowing when to stop," Amara said. "We're not joining your war, but we're not turning you away either. If you're ever in trouble, real trouble, call us. We'll answer." Kelvex left Sol convinced he had witnessed something between cowardice and stupidity. He filed his report accordingly. Species designation human. Assessment: isolationist. Non-martial. Strategically irrelevant. Recommend no further diplomatic resources be allocated. The Empire agreed, and for 6 years no one in the galaxy thought about Earth at all. The Vorthane Empire did not believe in irrelevance. They believed in leverage. So when the Ashfall Campaign turned against them, when a coalition flanking maneuver shattered their 3rd Fleet at the Corvain Relay and left their supply lines gutted across 11 systems, the Vorthane High Command did not think of retreat. They thought of pressure. And pressure, to the Vorthane mind, meant finding the soft places, the quiet worlds, the species too small or too proud or too foolish to have chosen a side. Earth had chosen no side. That made it, in Vorthane doctrine, a target of opportunity, a world that could be seized quietly, quickly, and used as a staging ground and a message. Neutrality is not safety. Grand Marshal Threncade did not consult his war council. He simply gave the order. 3 battlecruisers, the Ashen Verdict, the Iron Recompense, and the Widow's Toll, broke from the fleet reserve and set a course for Sol. "They have no fleet," Cade told his officers, studying the intelligence brief with something close to boredom. "No orbital defense grid worth mentioning. A scattering of colony outposts on 2 moons and a station at their 4th planet. This will take less than a day." His tactical officer, a younger Vorthane named Sesfarian, hesitated. "Marshal, the diplomatic file. It says they declined the coalition specifically because they don't fight wars they don't have to. That's not the profile of a species that gives up easily when the war comes to them anyway." The Ashen Verdict dropped out of transit 30 light minutes from Earth, expecting silence. It found 17 response drones already tracking its position, quiet, unarmed, relaying data back to a planet that had, apparently, been watching its own solar system's edges since the day Kelvex Oro had first landed 6 years prior. "Curious?" Cade murmured, watching the drones on his display. "They've been listening." "Marshal," Farian said carefully, "we're being hailed. Audio only." The voice that came through was human, male, unhurried. "Vorthane vessels. This is Sol Defense Coordination. You are approaching a sovereign system without invitation, escort, or declared intent. Please transmit your purpose or alter course." Cade almost laughed. Transmit this, we are the Vorthane Empire. Stand down your defenses and prepare to receive terms of occupation. Resistance will be unwise. There was a pause, long enough that Farian glanced nervously at his console. Then the voice returned, and something in its calm had not changed at all. Understood. For the record, we did try to ask nicely. The channel closed. What happened next was not, by galactic standards, a battle at all. It was 31 minutes. Earth had no grand fleet. What it had was 31 minutes of warning, 6 years of quiet preparation, and a species that had spent its entire violent, bloody history learning, over and over at terrible cost, exactly how far people would go to protect their home. The asteroid-mounted railgun platforms in the belt, dismissed by every prior galactic survey as primitive mining infrastructure, opened fire from 4 different vectors simultaneously. Not to destroy the battlecruisers, the humans weren't foolish enough to think 3 ships could be casually annihilated, but to blind them, stripping shields and sensors in coordinated, overlapping strikes that no Vorthane tactical doctrine had ever modeled, because no Vorthane tactical doctrine assumed a strategically irrelevant species would have spent 6 years building a defense grid disguised as civilian mining equipment. Impossible, Cade snarled, watching the Widow's Toll go dark on his display. Engines crippled, drifting. Return fire. Target the source. Marshal, we can't get a firing solution. Their platforms are moving. They're using the asteroid field itself as cover. This isn't defense doctrine. This is... Farian's voice cracked. This is a trap. They built a trap. Out of rocks. And then came the second surprise, the one that would end up in Vorthane military academies for the next 2 centuries as a cautionary case study. When the Ashen Verdict, badly damaged, tried to break off and retreat rather than press the attack, Earth let it go. They didn't. Not the Widow's Toll, drifting and defenseless. Its crew of 400 trapped in a dying ship. Earth's forces could have finished it. Every tactical model said they should have. Instead, 3 unmarked recovery vessels moved in, and the same unhurried human voice returned over an open channel. Widow's Toll, your ship is critically damaged and you have no propulsion. We're sending environmental support and initiating rescue of your crew. Power down your weapons and you will not be harmed. Cade stared at his display in something that was no longer anger. They're saving them? They could let them die, Farian whispered. Marshal, they could let 400 of our people die, and no one in the galaxy would blame them. And they're saving them instead. 6 months later, in a war crimes hearing that the Vorthane Empire had not requested and could not politely decline, Ambassador Kelvex Oro sat across from Director Amara Voss for the second time in his long life. You could have destroyed that ship, he said quietly. Every calculation said you should have. We fight to end fights, Amara said, not to make more of them. Killing 400 helpless people doesn't make us safer. It just makes us cruel. We didn't refuse the Coalition's war because we were afraid of fighting, Ambassador. We refused it because we've fought enough wars of our own to know the difference between defending your home and just adding to the pile. Kelvex thought of his 6-year-old report. Strategically irrelevant. He had been wrong about almost everything except one word. Earth had never been strategic in the way the galaxy understood strategy. Flexing power for the sake of power, honor as a leash, war as a language. Earth had simply been whole. Protective without cruelty. Strong without hunger. Merciless to the threat and merciful to the defeated, in the same breath without contradiction. For 400 years, the Coalition and the Empire had ground each other into ash over honor, over pride, over the slow accumulation of grievances no one alive could quite remember starting. And on the edge of the Orion Arm, one small, quiet, irrelevant species had shown them, without ever raising a fleet, without ever choosing a side, what it actually looked like to fight for something instead of simply fighting. And for the first time, the galaxy understood what it truly meant to be human.